Welcome to Sisters in Crime's Murder Monday, where authors talk about their crime craft. My name's Jacq, and I'm a bibliophile, a copywriter, occasional broadcaster, podcaster, and member of Sisters in Crime Australia, where we've been celebrating women's crime writing since 1991. My guest for this month's Murder Monday is best-selling WA author Fleur McDonald, who, with more than 20 novels under her belt, I couldn't possibly put them all on my shelf, has sold over 850,000 copies and cemented her place as one of our favourite storytellers. Hello, Fleur.
Hello, Jacq. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited about this. And so let me dive into the spiel before we talk. Fleur is our voice of the outback, and she was writing rural noir before it was even a concept. Her stories are inspired from owning, living, and working on the land, and for authenticity. Fleur has a detective friend who used to head up the stock squad. She is a highly sought after guest speaker and is passionate about writing, country life, autism, domestic violence, and her non for profit organisation DV Assist, which tailors domestic violence services. We're talking writing today, but we could talk for far more than Murder Monday would allow. Fleur, could you give us an elevator pitch for your latest novel, Shockwaves, which is out now?
Oh, well, I can. So I'll just give you a little bit of a look. So it's the Young Dave Burrows series,
Yep.
Shockwaves, and I've got two books that come out. I know this isn't the elevator pitch, but yeah, just so you understand, so you don't think that he's suddenly divorced Kim. The Young Dave Young Dave book comes out in April, and the Old Dave book, where he's married to Kim, comes out in November. So yes, very quick back of the blurb.
Yep.
So Dave is heading out bush again. His mate and boss, Bob Holden, was diagnosed with level 4 or stage 4, sorry, melanoma in the last book, and so we're sort of we're understanding how both Dave and Bob are beginning to come to terms with that
Yep.
diagnosis, which they're both having a bit of trouble with, being rural males.
Yep.
And really, at the end of it all, they're out out bush, and on the first night that they're out there, there is an explosion in one of the smaller towns in WA, and it's really a book about how far you would go to avenge somebody in your family, and Dave and Bob are then going to work out who done it.
Wow. Okay. And when you say that, I'm thinking that's a really good question, isn't it? How far would you go?
Yeah, well, that's a conversation, or a conversation that could take a long time. I've done
Yeah.
lots and lots of thinking about that over the time, and um, especially when people annoy me. um, but that's why we become authors, so we can
Yeah.
kill people in books and stay out of jail.
it's a wonderful therapy.
It is.
Well, let's get to our questions. We've got them here. The first question is, do you have a favorite food when you write?
Oh, yes, when I write, anything,
Yep.
just it's very hard to stay out of the pantry sometimes.
Hmm.
I have started to make sure that I actually cut up things like carrots and rockmelon and raspberries, so I don't eat crap.
Oh, that's like you can do the quick run to the fridge and nibble.
I used to do what the teenage boys do: open the fridge and stand there and look and go, "Oh, there's nothing to eat," but there is.
I know that really well. What do you find is the hardest part about being a writer?
I find actually the first draft, the hardest
Yeah.
part. I love editing, which is pretty unusual, I think, for authors. But the writing and making sure that you've got all the threads sort of tied up as best you can, that you
Yeah.
haven't left the coffin at the front of the book and you've got to the end of the book and you haven't buried the person, all that sort of stuff. I find that a little bit tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love editing, but the actual first draft is the hardest for me. And staring at that blank screen and
Yeah.
filling that with 100 words, 100,000 words is, it's actually a nightmare.
So is that the aim each time you write? It's 100,000 words?
Well, I'd like to get it to that point, somewhere
Yeah.
between 80 and 100,000. The first draft doesn't always end up at that.
Yeah.
More often than not, it sort of ends up about 65 to 75,000. And then, a really good, strong edit, structural edit, so we'll take it up a bit. Yeah.
Like there's hope for us short form writers. Next question. Oh, what's your top writing tip?
Oh gosh. You know, I'm terrible at this craft stuff because I don't know, like I just write, and sometimes I go back and read things and go, I didn't write that. I must have written that because I'm the only one that wrote it. But I don't
Yeah,
remember writing that. So I think that that is my tip. Just
yeah,
write, and you will find that if you have got writer's block, or if something's not working properly,
yeah.
it doesn't matter how crap it is because you can't edit a blank page. So just write. Try and write every day because then you stay in the story. But if you can't write every day, well, I don't write every day. Just
Yeah.
write.
It's a great tip. Oh yeah, here we go. How many drafts do you do before handing it in?
None. They get the brain dump.
Yep.
Yep, they get the very first of everything. Yeah. The only thing is I do edit a little bit as I go. So, yeah, I'll write a chapter and then I go back and I edit that chapter. I go back and reread it, and
Yep.
then yeah, I write again, and then I go back and write a bit more. Yeah, so like I do edit as I go, but basically it is the first very, very messy brain dump draft.
Are you a plotter or a pantser?
What do you reckon I might be, Jack? Just by
I'm
talking
going
to me
I'm
today.
going for a pantsy type feel.
Yeah,
And this is just
yeah.
I feel like I've met my tribe.
I am totally chaotic in the rest of my life as well. So, why would I be organized when it came to writing?
How important is connecting on social media or through newsletters?
Uh, no, social media, I reckon, is really important, especially when you're out bush like I am,
Yeah,
and I'm traveling a bit this month because I've been talking to people about International Women's Day, which is, obviously we're doing a bit of a earlier record for this, but I just, if I couldn't talk to people on Facebook or Instagram
yeah,
or TikTok, then, I wouldn't talk to a lot of them, and I would just be a book sitting on the shelf when they went into the book shop. I don't want to be that. I want them to go, oh, look, I've talked to her on social media, or I've done this, and she's responded, or I've been to, and seen her speak. So, and then when they walk into the bookshop, that book means something to them. So
yeah.
that's what I really want to do. Try very, very hard to create a really good community, especially on Facebook, because I understand Facebook. The others are a bit scary.
And with the suppose with the connection on social medias, do you come across a lot of people when you do the tours who know you
Oh
from
yes, that is freaky. People just go, "Oh, how's Jack?" And they're like, "Jack is my dog." And I
yeah,
just go, "Oh, yeah, that's right. I would have talked about Jack." And then someone will say, "How's Hayden?" And that's my son. And
yeah,
it's like, "Oh, how did you even?" I remember one particular time I went to an event and this lady sat down next to me. She started talking to me as if she knew me. And that was a really big check for me because,
yeah,
I can overshare. I have verbal diarrhea. So, I just found that it's like, oh, okay, you might just have to pull things back a bit, which I have done since then. What I
yeah.
let people see is what I'm really happy for you to see. I answer most questions,
Mm,
but the parts of my life, you don't see my messy kitchen or, anything like that. Yeah,
no,
it's what I'm prepared to put out there.
but sometimes it's good to keep the mystery.
Yeah, there's so much mystery about dirty dishes.
It's just like, especially for those of us who don't have a butler's pantry. So if somebody comes into the house, they see them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, come visit. It's right there.
Do you start with the plot, the character, or something else?
I actually think I start with a character. I know I've been watching this interview with Harlan, what's his name?
Harlan
Harlan
Coben?
Corbin.
Yep,
Yeah, on the BBC Maestro thing, and
yep,
the like it. So he teaches writing on that, and I've been watching those videos, and he talks about them all being intertwined, like the plot and the character and the setting all being intertwined,
yep.
and I think that that's actually a little bit how I am. I don't know that anything actually comes first as such. Often, I'll get a character's name,
Yeah.
and then I sort of work out what's sort of going on from there. But I think they are all intertwined, and especially when you write setting like I do, the setting itself is a character, so it really does all have to be. And that's where the whatever the murder or the mystery is going to be. So it's
Hmm.
sort of all got to be intertwined, meshed in together, I think.
And connected. Well, I was about to say your characters can speak for themselves because I'm sure, like many other readers, you read them and you know them. It's like,
Oh,
I've lived in a small town with that family. Or it's like, I know
yeah.
that kind of person.
Well, if that's how you read my books and you see them, I have done my job really, really well, because that's what I try and get across. So many times I've got someone will say, "Oh, that's the local stock agent, or that's the butcher from down the street, or
Yeah,
whatever," and I'll go, "Yeah, well, it's not, but that's okay,"
that's all right. As
because
long as there's that
yeah,
connection.
because it just means that I've created a character that they can relate to, and they
Yeah,
they they think they know. I've made it very clear whenever I'm asked, I don't ever base a character on anybody,
yeah.
because that is the best way to lose friends or get sued. So that is the why I always say, well, that's not the person that you know, but I'm really glad that you think you do.
Well, I was about to say, how do you do it each time? Because there's a lot of books there, there's a lot of characters, and it's a full town.
Yeah. Well, that's just it, isn't it? It is a
Yeah,
full town, and I know that when I certainly sort of set up Barker, I've got recently I've brought in an ambulance officer, and it does, and there's obviously publican and a few other
yeah,
people, but that is where that the actual town comes from. Hopefully, that feel of the town where you could walk down the main street and wave to the person that whose car that's
yeah.
parked out the front of the post office, that these people are all there and you can sort of feel them all. And
Mm,
country towns are full of characters. I don't thi And interestingly enough, I think they are similar characters to each town as
yeah.
well. So, I don't think we're ever gonna run out of characters because
No.
they're just always there.
Because I love the fact that people still stop in the main street to talk to somebody they see walking past.
Yeah, and I was watching a show last night, and I don't watch a lot of TV, about this eccentric guy. Now he's English. It was on one of those when they build houses. I can't remember what it's called, but it was English, and they were talking about him being the last of the English eccentrics. And
Hmm.
I thought, oh, Australia's still got all of them.
No, we've still got Townsville. We're good for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
Oh, and this probably leads straight into it. How important is place in your writing?
Oh, well, setting, yeah, for me,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. That I want you to be able to feel the dust and the flies, and that's where I spend a lot of my time, is out bush, or in the sheep yards, or
yeah,
wherever, and I know it so well, so I know that I can write it authentically, and I believe that that is what absolutely makes you turn a page, or
yeah,
want to continue on with the book, is if something is authentic. So yeah, you asked me to write about, I don't know, some main street with lots of cafes on it down the centre of Sydney or Melbourne or something. I wouldn't be too good at it, not because I haven't spent a lot of time there.
yeah, yeah. And oh, does your main character ever surprise you?
Dave? Well, that depends. Dave in the young Dave Burrows books, yes, he can, because he back then he still is a little reactive, and he is a little hot-headed.
Yeah.
And as my main characters come along, which is the strong female lead characters that I've got in the November book, more often than not, they don't surprise me as such, just because. They're people that I would like to be friends with. But what does surprise me in the last couple of books, you just put it at Voices in the Dark then, is Dave's reaction to a couple of the things that he has had to deal with. Like he's sort of getting to the end of his career in those books,
Yeah.
and he is beginning to act a little different to how he would have, maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when I say they don't surprise me, sometimes the minor characters surprise me, because they're knocking on the door going, "You're not listening to me, you gotta let me in." And I'll go, "No, no, no, you don't rate a mention here. I just need you back here, there, there, there." And then when that's usually when I get writer's block. And so then if I actually just let them come in,
Yeah.
it'll resolve itself.
Fantastic.
Oh, it sounds so weird. I know. It's just,
No,
yeah.
no, actually it makes a lot of sense. And before I had ever attempted writing, I would listen to people saying that. I'm just like, I'm not too sure how that works because I write radio commercials. And so it's very much here's your brief, this is what you do, off you go. Whereas
Yeah.
long form writing, you're absolutely right. I don't know what's happening on the page
Yeah.
until it happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and that's what I just said before, like, often I'll go back and I'll edit and I'll get to a point and I'll go, "Oh, I don't remember writing that." And that's, when you're in the absolute flow,
yeah,
and that stuff is good, that just that alights all the magic and the fireworks and everything that goes on inside of your head when you get to that point. That's what writing is all about.
almost the last question. Almost out of time. I can't believe it's gone so fast. Who are your writing inspirations?
Michael Connolly.
Hmm.
Um, and Sally Hepworth.
Yeah.
I'm very late to the party in Sally Hepworth's books, but I love her stuff. She just creates these full-blown characters that aren't cardboard or two-dimensional. She's amazing.
And you can get totally lost anytime you pick up a copy.
Yep.
Alrighty. It's time for the last question. How would you get away with murder?
Right, easy. So all you gotta do is you've just got to
I
jack.
love you've just gone easy.
Yeah, because I've just written a story about it. So all you got to do is jack up a car, right?
Yeah.
And then push it off the jack while somebody's underneath it, and nobody's going to know that you've been there. Just so long as you make sure you haven't got any footprints and you have worn gloves,
Yeah.
you're good. Good to go.
Right. I'm staying clear of you with the flat. Okay. That's fantastic. Blair, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know Shockwaves is going to be another bestseller. And Murder Mondays interviews are available on Sisters in Crime YouTube channel at 6 p.m. once a month on a Monday. Fleur, what an absolute delight. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jacq.